Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of Thoughts from the Couch. I'm Tim.
I'm Tarun.
And I'm Krishna.
In this week's video, we discuss the newly revealed details of Google's Stadia platform, take a good look at the upcoming Pokemon games for Nintendo Switch, and cover some of the latest pre-E3 announcements before the big show begins next week.
In other news, we'll also be discussing the news of Robert Pattinson's official casting as the Batman in Matt Reeves' upcoming film, The Batman, and reacting to the new trailer for Ford vs. Ferrari, a new biopic starring Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Let's get started.
After officially announcing their Stadia streaming platform in March, Google have now revealed further details about their new service, which is aimed at allowing people to play games without a console by streaming games directly to living rooms via the cloud. At its Stadia Connect stream today, Google announced that Stadia will be following the Netflix model by charging prospective users $10 a month for their subscription service, while also putting individual games up for sale. A Founders Edition bundle, which will retail for $130, will be available at Stadia's launch in November this year. The Stadia controller itself will retail for $70.
Google has also detailed Stadia's lineup, pricing, and other specifics. The subscription service, which is known as Stadia Pro, will cost $10. As previously mentioned, it will allow a user to stream a game at 60 frames per second at 4K resolution. Of course, since Stadia relies on an online connection, Google also detailed how a user's internet connection speed would correlate to streaming quality, stating that Stadia would provide connection speeds greater than 5 Mbps, although roughly 35 Mbps would be required for full 4K.
Google has also listed some of the games that will be available on Stadia, including the newly announced Baldur's Gate 3, also available on PC, The Division 2, Destiny 2 with its upcoming Shadowkeep expansion, and the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy. So what do you think?
I'm just going to put it out there, still not convinced.
Why not?
And that's mostly because my internet is terrible.
What's your internet speed? Do you know?
I actually have no idea, but it's not very good. So
Will it at least support 720p 60 FPS?
I have a PS4 Pro downstairs and that can do 1080p 60 FPS. So why would I bother?
It's very interesting for Google to enter this gaming market, which it's already dominated by consoles.
Part of me is saying that Google is a huge company. They obviously have done a ton of research into this market. And so they're entering it sort of knowing what they're doing, I guess. But it's just a little difficult for me to see that.
I think everyone has a question in their mind, like who the Google Stadia is made for.
They said in their promo material, it's actually meant for like people like streamers who can afford, have good internet connection and they want just the best. But I'm looking at the specs, it doesn't seem like the best to me because it seems to me like at the top, when you're getting 35 megabytes a second, you're actually getting 4K 60 FPS, HDR, and surround sound.
Does that connection speed really support 4K?
Well, I would assume it does. I know there's obviously, they've said that there's still some latency when people tested it, which kind of makes me go, yeah, I suppose there would be because you're streaming something that's very intense straight to your TV via your internet. I assume it would have to be fast, but it's also like you have all this lag.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I was saying, I was looking at the specs for the Stadia, and it's like, as they were saying, it supports 4K 60 FPS, which is kind of, I assume, what Microsoft and Sony are looking at for the next generation of consoles. So someone like me, internet connection not so good, still like buying physical games. So why don't I just wait for next year when they do PS5, the next Xbox, and then I can have a better experience? This doesn't make sense to me. Do you guys like buying physical copies, or are we like streaming? That's the way to go.
I definitely prefer physical copies. For me, I like to have the game in hand. For something like this, you're paying for a subscription, you're not paying for the games. So it's very easy for them to block out any games which maybe you favorited before, and then you will no longer have access to that, as opposed to having a physical copy where you always have it with you.
Basically, I hear what you're saying. It's basically not down to trusting the people running the service because you don't technically own the game unless you have it like physically.
Yeah, this is all on Google servers. You don't own those servers. They're just providing you that service.
We've had, Google not such a great reputation these days with privacy and all that. So I'm kind of iffy about just, handing Google more data, like my gaming data. Obviously, we were discussing this earlier. We were questioning whether, $10 a month, is that worth it, to subscribe for games? But then we're also saying that I pay for Netflix in the same way.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not that bad. And actually, the price to me is actually a bit of a surprise. It's actually cheaper than I thought it would be.
Me
Yeah.
too.
like a lot cheaper. Do you guys think it's worth it?
If the gaming quality and infrastructure is as strong as they say, then yeah, I would pay $10 a month to play games on this network.
Yeah, but then, there's reports that people are still getting latency. And we're not talking like, just individuals. We're talking like publications who have, pretty good internet connection, I assume. So I don't know how I would do.
Honestly, as someone who moves around quite a lot, like in the past 4 years, I've moved like 2 times. I would appreciate a streaming service like this because I don't want to have to store physical CDs.
Yeah, latency is an issue, but I think it's only an issue if you're trying to play competitively.
This is the thing about latency is that I think it actually affects more games than you think it would. So obviously the, competitive online, if we're talking like games like, COD or Overwatch or whatever, you wouldn't want to play that via a streaming service as far as I'm concerned. But then also if, we're talking like hardcore single player games like Dark Souls, again, not so great probably. Because, the latency, you need the fine control, you need the, immediate response.
So obviously when we play games offline, there's virtually no latency issue when we're playing any single player game. When it comes to online multiplayer games, obviously you'll have some latency issues, but you barely notice it. When it comes to the streaming service, you're going to have that latency issue with single player games, which I think for some people put down the quality compared to console.
I would not want to play this way. It's just something to me is always like, I will go with Sony or I'll go with Microsoft. They will sell me, offline single player experiences. We're talking like, God of War, stuff like that. That's what I want from my game. Like online is also a part of it, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like I'll be streaming games. I don't like the idea of it. Obviously, we've been talking like there's a substantial games lineup, which is interesting.
Yeah. Also, I feel like this thing might be very power hungry. Yeah. Power and resource hungry. Like Chrome is.
Yeah, Krishna raises a good point because, it's very like power and resource hungry, definitely. Yeah. Because, like obviously it's going to take a lot out of your internet connection and that's always not great. I think I was reading, okay, not confirmed reports. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is a huge game, it's going to be part on the Stadia, introduced to the Stadia. I think it said like there was a crazy data storage concern, like over maybe 5 or 6 hours playing that game in 4K, you rack up like a terabyte of storage. That's quite a lot. So obviously they're trying to put it on Pixel as well, Google's Pixel phones. I don't know what the purpose of that is. The screen is tiny and, it's just not a great experience for playing games. And then you turn out you're going to be streaming, like using a lot of your data, I assume. Parts of this is just not coming together for me. Even though they say they have all these interesting games, Destiny 2, Division 2 coming to the platform. So I don't know. What do you guys think of the games?
It's a good lineup, but I don't think I would like to play those games on Stadia. And I don't know what Baldur's Gate 3 is, so I'm not interested in that at all.
They're very good games, but, that's kind of sad for me. Is it only PC and Stadia then? Because if it's not on PS4, that's kind of a bummer. Anyways, moving on to something a little lighter and, well, a lot less confusing. Pokemon, which, as far as I know, won't be on Stadia. Thanks to the recent Pokemon Direct by Nintendo, we now know a lot more about the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield games. According to Nintendo, the upcoming games, the first of the 8th generation of Pokemon games, will be released on Nintendo Switch on the 15th of November this year. In the Pokemon Direct, fans got to see some of the new features in Sword and Shield, including the introduction of Dynamax, a new phenomenon which causes Pokemon to grow into giant-sized versions of themselves so that their trainers can take part in titanic battles. The games also feature new max raid battles, which allow for up to 4 trainers to battle and capture powerful Dynamax Pokemon on local wireless or online.
We also got to see new characters for the first time, including Leon, the champion of the game's region Galar. The player characters rival Hop, the region's Pokemon Professor Magnolia, and Sonia, the professor's granddaughter and research assistant. We also got to see the 2 new legendary Pokemon, Zacian, the mascot for Sword, and Zamazenta, the mascot for Shield. Players will also be able to customize their appearances once again. So guys, your thoughts?
Big fan, very hyped. Looking forward to the new Pokemon games. I don't know what it's like being like for you guys. I think after high school, dropped Pokemon for a while, got back into it, then dropped it again. Now it's on Switch, I'm looking to get back into it again, I think.
Yeah, I think the last one I played was the Emerald version through an emulator on our laptops.
Oh boy, Emerald is ancient. Pokemon has that special place in my heart, and I think it does for a lot of people. There's something just very entertaining about it. Kids and adults can play it. And I was thinking, like, the last one I played was Ultra Sun, I think, or Ultra Moon. And the thing that really got me about that game is they took out the gyms, which is really, really strange. Because, you've been playing I've been playing since, Fire Red, Emerald, like you said, going Diamond and Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, going to those games, dropping it for a while. And all of those games had like the same basic structure and you just, went through it and enjoyed it. And then they kind of dropped it for that one. I was like surprised. And then we don't talk about Pokemon Let's Go, which is basically just Pokemon Go, except on the Switch, with extra visuals. I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
Would you be getting the Sword or Shield version?
That's such a good question because, every time they release a Pokemon game, it's like, which one do you get? Because if you guys don't know already, Pokemon, they tend to do this with every generation. They release 2 games set in the same general story, same general area, same characters, all that. But each will have like exclusive Pokemon that you can't get on the other one. For me, it's like really down to, which Pokemon I'm going to get, for each, and which ones look cooler. It's basically what it is. For now, probably Sword, but I really don't know.
Why the names Sword and Shield?
Well, I think they just ran out of colors. Because, after a while, I think they were like Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. They went to X and Y, and then, Sun and Moon, and they did Black and White, which is kind of strange. Then they did Black 2 and White 2, I think it was.
Oh, what?
And then they sort of moved on. Yeah. It's a true story. Obviously, he dropped it for a while, but obviously, the thing that gets me is like, trainer customization's been a thing for a while now, I think. So, that's nice to have that back. Dynamax, transform Pikachu into Godzilla.
Do you think it will change a lot of how you play the game with that Dynamax thing?
In the previous games, they introduced Mega Evolution, which is like, for you guys who don't know, you basically evolve your Pokemon into like a further evolution just for the duration of one battle. So you could have that, the moves are powered up and all that. So obviously, that was like a really interesting dimension they brought to the games when they introduced that. So this, to me, it seems like they're trying to just reinvent it a little bit, add something interesting. My reaction also, like max raid battles, adding raids to Pokemon sounds so strange to me.
I think it's a popular feature in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, true. But raids, something like you associate with Division or Destiny or something like that. Pokemon, very strange addition, but really looking forward to it. I mean, obviously there's some stuff that's missing. We haven't seen, as far as I know, like the villains of this one. Obviously this should be like a villain team, as it always has been. Still very, very hyped for it.
Well, in contrast to the fun fantasy world of Pokemon, it looks like we'll also be returning to the realistic post-future world of Watch Dogs, where privacy is an illusion, Big Brother is always watching, and where we get to live out more of our hacker fantasies. The official Twitter account for the Watch Dogs franchise has now been fully branded as Watch Dogs Legion, with developer Ubisoft announcing that the game will be revealed at E3 next week. The account tweeted a teaser featuring a new logo accompanied by the words, "God save the NPCs."
This news comes a day after the existence of the game was leaked online by a listing on Amazon UK. According to the leak, Legion will be set in a near future dystopian vision of London in a post-Brexit world, and players will be able to assume the identities of any of the game's non-player characters. Any reveal will likely take place during Ubisoft's conference at E3, which is scheduled for the 10th of June.
What do you guys think? I know, like, the past 2, not so great.
Not so great, but for me, it was still okay, an enjoyable game.
So, the thing about Watch Dogs to me is like, it's always seemed like, conceptually speaking, very interesting. But then when they come out and they get like mediocre reviews, then I just lose all interest. So I'm thinking like maybe this one would be, third time lucky, be interesting.
Have you played the other 2?
I have not, actually.
Oh, well, I have, and they're fun, but nothing's really that grabs you, if I can, yeah.
The interesting thing about that the leaked listing on Amazon is it actually says in words post-Brexit London. So I was always thinking like Ubisoft is not known for making like political games. They usually try to, steer kind of clear of that. I think Division 2, they deliberately made it like it wasn't political. So obviously, this is like a bold step in a different direction for me.
Yeah. And I would say the last two Watchdog games have been more of social commentary on how we are all online, but never really went to political stuff. So this will be interesting.
Obviously, the big thing is like post-Brexit London, and then it described it as like, what is it? Near future dystopian vision. It's not.
That's kind of taking it too far, isn't it?
I obviously trying to keep politics out of our show a little bit, but very unusual. I don't know if obviously I think like when people try to put politics in games, it's usually not big developers. We're not talking like EA, Ubisoft, or Activision putting politics into games. Usually it's smaller indie developers doing that. Because they kind of have the creative freedom to say what they want. And speaking like if you want like politically provoking games, you'll get that from indies rather than from big developers.
You could say Rockstar kind of dives into politics, but it's more parody and satire.
Yeah, obviously, you don't get the same level from big developers. So this is interesting. Like, that's the most interesting thing for me. It's like, oh, we're going to be making political statements, it sounds like. According to the leak, players can assume the identities of any of the game's NPCs. Interested to see if that's legit, or, is it just like pipe dream? What do you guys think?
Maybe they mean something else, because I don't really see how that is going to work as a game mechanic in the world.
I would assume, like, obviously, for them, if this is true, they have to do more work. Obviously, more work designing NPCs, like unique NPCs. So that's more work for them. And then implementing this system where you can just take over anything.
Just for fun, I just hope that there's some NPC you can control where you're just an assassin from Assassin's Creed, because as we know, Watch Dogs has teased that they are in the same universe. But that'll just be a fun thing.
Looking forward to hearing more about that.
Speaking of E3, we also have official confirmation that Rocksteady will not be attending this year. Rocksteady co-founder Sefton Hill recently took to Twitter to confirm that the company won't be attending E3 this year. Rather than attending the conference, Hill stated that the team would be staying in London to work on their next big project. Hill also made a similar announcement for last year's E3. Obviously, as you know, there's been some speculation over what the project is, ever since Rocksteady completed their popular Arkham trilogy.
Again, this is just like winding up to be a much more disappointing E3. And I like how you said trilogy there.
Yeah, I said it.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. Yeah. we just pretend Arkham Origins doesn't exist, huh?
I do have one good thing to say of Origins, is that their boss fights are really good. Other than that, it's an okay game.
That's all we're going to be saying about Origins this evening. Thank you very much. This E3, I've never been this disappointed for an E3 than this year's. Sony's not there, and then Rocksteady's not there. Great, we get to see Microsoft. Woo. I mean, are you guys disappointed? Are you guys disappointed?
Yeah.
I've been waiting to see what Rocksteady has been working on. Like, I think it was rumored at first to be a Suicide Squad game. Then it was confirmed it was a Suicide Squad game, which then got cancelled. Then it was rumored to be a Superman game, which they've said again and again it's not a Superman game. So I really want to know.
Here at the office, we all really enjoy the Arkham games. So Arkham Knight, still kind of the worst one for me. Kind of looking forward to seeing what they're doing next. Obviously, they have something going, but we don't know what it is. Obviously, really interesting timing because, E3, big event still, despite what we said about Sony not being there. If they don't announce it now, there's a few other opportunities this year I can think of where they might announce something, but it's possible they're just going to move to next year, in which case, if that lines up with the rumors about the next PlayStation, the next Xbox, they'll be targeting that console instead of, current gen. So I don't know, what kind of projects would you guys want? I can think of a few. Always go back to Batman, but I don't know what else would you guys want.
I've always wanted them to go back to Batman, like you said, but like do the Batman Beyond character, with Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a
True.
really fun one.
Krishna, any thoughts on what games you want from Rocksteady?
I was surprised they were gonna do a Superman game, but I mean, I would love one, honestly. I know it's hard to do, but I don't know, Rocksteady or somebody else. I just wanted them to try and make one.
No, they were rumored to make one, but they said they're not doing one.
Oh, okay. I mean, it would be nice though. That's all I'm saying.
Honestly, when someone says Superman game, I think of, that one, the really old one that people said was like one of the worst games ever made, where you just like fly through green mist, like through rings. You guys know the ones I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I think when you say Superman
I
game.
played a Superman game on the PS2, which was quite fun, but then I think it got really annoying at one point. At least for me, and I just left it. I never finished it, so I don't know the whole thing about it.
Again, disappointed. Another disappointment from this EC3. Shame, we really enjoyed Arkham, but I guess we're not getting any more of that soon. So, of course, we also got other Batman-related news this week. Congratulations to Robert Pattinson, who is now officially the new Batman. Pattinson will be playing the Dark Knight in Matt Reeves' upcoming Batman solo film, The Batman, inheriting the role from Ben Affleck, who previously played the character in the DCEU.
Warner Brothers confirmed earlier this week that Pattinson had beat other contenders on the list, including Nicholas Hoult. So, do you think he's going to do well in the role, or is this another poor casting choice by DC? I personally don't think so. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with it.
I haven't seen much of his acting work since Twilight.
Okay, we just before we go anywhere with this, can we just get Twilight out of our system? Okay, it happened. We're done. Try and put Twilight out of your mind, okay? Because in recent years, I think he's actually done some pretty decent stuff.
Yes,
so-
I have heard that he has done much better roles since then, but I haven't seen them personally. But from,
Me neither, but
I trust what the
believe.
people say, and I'm hoping for the best that he will be a good Batman.
no, I mean, for me, I don't know. I don't really know what to think because I've not seen his recent work. I know you guys haven't seen his recent work either. I'm in kind of that position where I don't know if he's going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be bad. Obviously, I put Twilight out of my mind, and then, this could work, I guess. But obviously, everyone has their favorite Batman. Who's your favorite Batman, guys?
Who's my favorite Batman? I'd say, I mean, Christian Bale was great, but you know what? I'm gonna go with Ben Affleck
Really?
Whoa, with the
Whoa.
Batfleck.
Batfleck. Whoa.
because he's the more comic book Batman, and yeah, I love that. It was the right amount of comic book mixed with real world sense.
Okay, I think the only problem I had with the Ben Affleck Batman was that he was a bit too paranoid for his, what his character is. But personally, I guess my favorite adaptation of Batman. Okay, favorite actor, right? Not like adaptation specifically.
What anyone who's ever played Batman, we're talking
Any
voice
form of media?
or physical role. Any form of media.
Oh,
Yeah.
then Kevin Conroy. You can't beat that guy.
Wow. Wow.
He did the Arkham games, he did the original animated series, and his voice is intimidating. It plays with the Batman role perfectly.
Honestly, I feel like when you're talking like Kevin Conroy, the guy's like really good in the role, but when you're talking about those kind of projects, you have to talk about him and Mark Hamill, who does the Joker.
Of course.
You always like have both. You know what I mean? That's what makes it, so
Who would you pick other than Kevin Conroy? Because he's voice actor. He's not. This news is about
Hey,
Robert
he said
Pattinson.
all
voice
forms
acting
of
is
media.
acting. All forms of media. Voice acting is still acting.
I mean, yes, but like, there's no visual component. So I'm just asking because I know everybody's gonna say Kevin Conroy, but like, let's pick someone
If I were
else.
to choose a live action actor, I think I used to say Michael Keaton, but he's only really good as Bruce Wayne rather than Batman. So I think I would have to go with Christian Bale.
I'd still go for Christian Bale as well, I think, personally. As in having like the best, 3-movie arc, Christian Bale.
Looking back at former Batman actors, Christian Bale has joined onto the new movie Ford v Ferrari. Bale was seen in a trailer for the movie, which is based on the legendary true story of automotive designer Carroll Shelby and race car driver Ken Miles, who set out to build a revolutionary vehicle for the Ford Motor Company to compete against the race cars of Enzo Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in France in 1966.
The film is being directed by James Mangold, who also directed the critically acclaimed Logan, and is scheduled to be released on the 15th of November. It also stars the likes of Matt Damon and John Bernthal.
So are you guys excited for the movie?
I mean, I wasn't before, but after watching the trailer, I am now. And also, like, learning James Mangold is in charge. That makes me feel better. I loved Logan, so.
Yeah, he's done other films like 310 to Yuma, which Christian Bale was a part of, I think.
I'm not sure about James Mangold's work other than Logan.
Which was a critically acclaimed film. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see Batman and the Punisher. Just on screen driving cars.
Yeah, the trailer was so action packed. I loved it.
It is action packed, isn't it? You see, that's what gets me about these. Like, whenever you make, biopics, they either go like really well or go really badly. And then the way you can tell is actually in the trailer. You have like, you need a packet full of like interesting stuff. Like, it's all like audio design, like the visuals. You have to pack it together in a trailer that looks, good.
Yeah,
And that trailer looked good. That it does the job of a good trailer. It makes you want to go see it.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of the story before through being a fan of Top Gear and Grand Tour. I know those guys have talked about it, and that's how I know maybe some details about it, but I've never really paid attention. So I know it's a legendary story for a lot of car buffs out there.
Especially American car buffs.
Definitely American car buffs. And since Ford is an American company and it beat out a very popular Italian company, Ferrari.
Shh, dude, don't spoil the movie.
Oh no, true story spoilers, sorry.
History spoilers, oh no.
This reminds me of Rush too. Have you guys watched that movie?
Yes.
Chris Hemsworth, Daniel Burrow.
I have not.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like this will match up to that. It could even be better than that movie. Well, I don't want to say better since they're about kind of true stories. It's really just about how they direct it.
Yeah.
I have faith in James Mangold.
Charun just went there.
Oh.
It's the better story. Whoa.
Yes, they have the better true story.
Truth is subjective, my friend.
I'm just joking, guys.
That's all the time we have for news this week. So moving on to our weekly review roundup. This week, Godzilla King of the Monsters and Observation. So, kicking off with Godzilla. I know I went with Tarun. We went to see it together.
Yes.
Krishna, have you seen Godzilla?
No, not yet.
God damn it.
I have finals, dude. I can't go see like 3 movies in a week.
It's okay. It's okay. You still have Dark Phoenix to review.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Dark Phoenix tomorrow and then review that for you guys. So watch out for it.
All you guys, all you X-Men fans out there, Krishna's review out Monday. So look forward to that.
But yes, back to Godzilla.
One more to say that we haven't said already last week.
It's the same point really. Just again, monsters are great visuals, great fights. Human plot and characters are boring, bland.
Boring, it does not do it justice. Boring, that's like an understatement of the century.
And again, humans should be dead. At least the characters that we always come across, they should all be dead. But I don't know, plot armor, I guess.
I think there was something we didn't quite mention last week, which is that having thought about it after we watched it, there is actually like a subtext there. Obviously, you guys know the original Godzilla. It's all about it was a reaction to nuclear testing, nuclear weaponry. It's a very anti-nuke kind of thing. So obviously in this one I kind of caught the vibe that if you ask me what this one is about, it's kind of like climate change. If you think about it, you see, there's like kind of the subtext where we're like destroying our own planet and willfully ignoring everything that's in front of us. It kind of had that vibe to me. But the whole thing is like humans are causing all this imbalance in the world, and the monsters, they're taking that back and restoring kind of balance, like ecologically speaking. So that was like, that's the subtext. It's like updated to face a very modern issue, if you like. So very interesting the way it does that. Because, we said the human drama, not so great, but, thematically, you kind of see that subtext behind it. That makes it, just a little bit better to me.
I still don't like, what was her name? Emma Fisher? No? I'm thinking of the other game. I'm thinking of the game we're going to talk about. I'm thinking of the game we're going to talk about. What was her name? The really stupid scientist person.
I don't even know.
See, we don't remember her name. That's how dumb she was. I'm sorry, Vera Farmiga. Her name was Dr. Emma Russell, played by Vera Farmiga. She did a good job in the role, but the character is just so dumb.
Badly written. That's what it is.
You guys again watch Millie Bobby Brown is probably the best part in that, and part of the human characters.
She is also the best part of Stranger Things, and you guys, I will fight anyone who says she isn't.
No, dude. It's all about Dustin and Steve Harrington.
Anyways, moving on to Observation. For those of you guys who don't know, science fiction horror thriller game. Mysterious force hits the space station. Astronaut Emma Fisher, she regains consciousness at the board of the station, finds the rest of the crew missing. Station's adrift in space, communications down, power's out. Station's AI Sam is missing most of his core memory. So together with Sam, she must restore power to the station and find out what happened to the rest of the crew. Now, key twist here of this game makes it so interesting to me. The reason why I picked it up is that you actually play as Sam, you don't play as Emma. Obviously, so this game takes its inspirations from a lot of places. It takes it from 2001, A Space Odyssey, takes it from Alien, takes it from Alien Isolation. So obviously you have a lot of different influences. The story is very well told, I found. It's more sci-fi than horror. It's not very tense. I found it kind of disappointing that it was trying to aim to get this kind of cosmic horror kind of feel, alien horror, trying to get that kind of vibe. Doesn't quite get that kind of vibe. Mostly because of a lot of technical issues. You have, I was playing this game, there's certain sections where you can fly around and the station aboard like a small space probe. Obviously what I was doing, instead of exploring, I was just constantly bumping into stuff. And bumping into stuff, it kind of, stops you moving for like a split half second. And it's the most annoying thing ever. So obviously, there's other stuff to talk about as well. But Sam is very creepily voiced. It gets that kind of HAL 9000 kind of vibe. Kezia Barrows, who plays Emma, she's also very good. Obviously, some of you guys will recognize her name from Alien Isolation, where she played Amanda Ripley, actually. So obviously, it's a game that kind of wastes its potential. I was very disappointed with it. Parts of it are very well designed, other parts not so well designed. So obviously, if you guys want something that captures, science fiction horror, I would obviously try this game. But just take it with a grain of salt, go in with low expectations. There's still some stuff to enjoy there.
I might check it out, maybe.
The concept is very interesting, so for that reason I can kind of recommend it, but keep in mind gameplay not so great. Anyways, that's all for this week. Apologies for the delay with our podcast, The Controller. We're still working out some technical issues with that, so just keep an eye out. We'll have it out hopefully quite soon.
As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram in the links below, so you get notified whenever we post new content. Until next week, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, see you guys next week.